It around.
Smear it around.
Smear it. All right. You are listening to an episode of Transparency and Merit, my lord, my lord,
My lord.
my lord.
Yes, I am Brian.
And I'm Joe. And we're getting into some red tape, it seems.
We are getting into some red tape.
Now, you wanted to change the topic last second here. What the heck was bothering you about? I'm not sure what the deal was here. You had an attack of some kind against you, and I think you want revenge. You're looking for revenge.
Not so much. I don't know if I so much want revenge. But that show I did with about Jane Elliott, and Jane Elliott and the rise of hypocrisy culture.
How did we do, by the way? Did we get any people to go listen to it?
Well, it's, look, our videos, maybe I should share my screen with you.
Did we, is that one that we linked up on YouTube, or was it the show, maybe it was a show before that?
Let me, it was one that we,
If you ever get in these conversations with people, you better be dropping that link. That's
this
key.
person I don't know if I want to draw a link to at all, just due to the fact that, can you see my screen right now? Can you see my cursor like this? Can you see it?
Yeah.
I've shared my screen with you. So, I'm going to move this out of the way. I'm just going to... But this... okay, I want to... Maybe I'll enlarge this a little bit here as well. Let me see here. Let me largey poo. Boop. Okay, so... this... And I don't know how to say his name, but it's... Hellstorm... Carbon... Carbuncle.
Looks like looks like Carbuncle, yeah.
Yeah, Carbuncle. And we got into a little bit of a tiff.
Oh, so we had some comments on our show.
We had one comment, and you know what? This might, by the way, and I don't know for a fact, but this seems like a Hurricane Dean type of person. It may be and it may be not, but he said, the rise of anti-racist hypocrisy, do you even hear yourself? And then I asked him, where do you find fault? Much of the anti-racist theory has its roots in Marxism. It seeks to structure a racial hierarchy, which whites are on the lowest rung of the moral hierarchy.
Mm-hmm. Well, what did he
and this guy asked me to cite Marx with a page number and volume. And look,
and shut the F up as well.
yeah. And then he gives me a study here.
That's, first of all, that's ridiculous. If the information is out there and you've given your source, go find it yourself.
But this guy gives me socialistworker.org. And these people are notorious for red tape. They do a lot of, and they're not. These people do a lot of. They do a lot of doublespeak, and the reason that Marxism, and this has been a lot of people's theory, the reason that Marxism, instead of, they had class, but now it's become race, and it's a moral hierarchical struggle, a moral hierarchy of struggle. Where whites are the least moral, by their nature are the least moral because they come with privilege and they don't understand people's struggle, and by nature they're, the way in which they've evolved is very insensitive. That's okay. So this is for the revolutionary Marxist. There's an incredible link between racism and capitalism. Capitalism is dependent on racism, is both a source of profiteering, but more importantly, to divide and rule. Okay, and I don't want to go into too many details. Karl Marx pointed out racism. Karl Marx pointed out it also used racism to divide and rule the pit. Okay, so yeah, I don't want to go into too much of this guy's leftist ideology.
But this is the article that he linked you to. So let's go back
do you want me? Okay, let me. You know what? Let me post this article.
Yeah.
So you can read this thing that this guy.
Well, no. Just get back to YouTube.
No. Shut up.
Go to YouTube and finish up your little thread there.
Okay, hold on. Let me first of all let me link you up to what this gentleman had to what he gave me to read. It was almost vomit inducing, but you can take a look at that yourself. This is just pure leftist myopic propaganda, and if you want to look at that up, you can. So let me go back and what did I say? What about what I said was a fraud? By the way, Tim Wise is a vindictive, cruel person who doxes people and will not face the music himself. Also, do you support political violence? Are you in any way associated with Antifa? Because this guy sounds like an Antifa person.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, Antifa does not initiate violence. That's a lie. That's a joke and a lie. They most certainly do initiate violence. What is true is that 100% of the murders for political causes the last 4 years have been alt-right, not left. BTW.
By the way, no response to the
facts about race in my link above. Lied about what? I said you are coming across. You are coming across like a crazed fanatic. Antifa has Soviet flags in their protests. I said the word rooted in Marxism. The left has a racial moral hierarchy in which whites are on the bottom. Again, you sound like a crazed anti-racist fanatic. You're being a bully and an authoritarian. And then he said, you lied about Marxism as a source of anti-white racism. Your thread, chump, keep it up. And then he says, say the person who lied about anti-racism and Marxism. He did go and threaten me, by the way. I just want to say that, let me see here where he threatens me. And it was a little bit of a threat.
Well, the tone of the comments is threatening in itself.
He's a very threatening. He's like, and I almost because of that, I wanted to call it the noble lynch mob, which, by the way, there is no noble lynch mob.
Yes.
You are nothing more than...
well, the point, rather than, really kind of go after an individual on YouTube, and you're going to come across that a lot because it's everywhere on YouTube. I think
my problem is those who kowtow to this kind of person. This is, we're entitled to the First Amendment. We're entitled to we're entitled to the First Amendment. And also, I wish YouTube is such a large platform that we should be entitled to trial by, almost to a degree, a sort of trial by jury kind of thing. And the internet started cancel culture. The internet helped cancel culture grow. And now anytime somebody tries to fight against cancel culture, because cancel culture seems to have metastasized into just about every bit of our entertainment industry, of the internet, and it's in the media, and it's also in our internet as well. All over social media, cancel culture there's just a stronghold with them.
And do you have an example of that?
Well,
just because I don't know if everybody's understanding exactly what cancel culture is.
Well, for example, what happened to Roseanne is a great example of cancel culture. She says something that is considered insensitive and racist, and they put that right up against Sarah Jeong, who did something, even more blatant and was even worse on Twitter. She didn't lose her job, and nothing really happened to her. And I pointed out another person who said something really, really insensitive. What the hell is her name? Wendy Williams. And Wendy Williams was one of the people who, was with the lynch mob against Roseanne. And she said what she did about Joaquin Phoenix, and nothing happens to her.
She made fun of his hair lip.
Yeah. So you can, you can get away with, you can get away, when she does it, hey, not much is going to happen to her.
Yeah, I barely heard about it. I wouldn't have heard about it unless you had pointed it out.
Yeah. But of course, Roseanne does something. Hey, she gets canceled and she's off the air. And this has happened time and time again with celebrities, with white celebrities who say something that they consider to be, that people consider to be racist.
Do you think Wendy Williams knew her? What it appeared to be is she recognized immediately what she had done, and it was almost as if she doubled down because she kept going and trying to make it more of a joke.
And then she apologized.
She ended up having to apologize anyways. She recognized it right away that it was a mistake and kept going, though. She kind of turned it into a little thing, maybe thinking it would get funnier, but I think she dug her hole a little deeper to the point where she had to come out and apologize publicly.
I'm not in favor of cancel culture, but she's a hypocrite. She's a hypocrite. And if you were one of the people, hanging the news, lynching Roseanne, hey, guess what? You go too. Face the music, man. Why don't we cancel your show out and take you off the air? Your show wasn't nearly as popular as Roseanne's.
Now, as a overarching idea, red tape I thought was important because all this points out is, we're going to start live streaming on YouTube, and we're going to be coming across more and more people like this who aren't going to like what you say on the face of it until they have a broader perspective of what you're trying to say. And and that's the red tape. I just wanted to point that out. That is anywhere you go, it's almost like you said, you almost want to create a new layer of bureaucracy, right? To have a jury and jury by trial, a trial by jury rather, and so that's more red tape.
Well, I mean, certainly. I just believe, like with cancel culture, there's no day in court, and it's only a few people that are allowed to speak about, and it's only these modern day, I would call them inquisitors, and those who support the inquisitors. But nobody, there isn't enough. Like, hey, wait a minute, like something like with Roseanne, there should have been a debate. There should have been a larger debate about what's going on and should this be done, and who decides what crime fits what. And if you believe that what she did was this bad, particularly with what Wendy Williams, well, now you face the music. Now it's your turn. You take it. Take the punishment. Take the same punishment that you dished out. Tell me why you don't deserve it. And there's red tape in getting the one thing today. If you want answers from people, there's a lot of red tape. A lot of red tape because they can't answer your questions basically. And they can't handle your questions. So they make all kinds of excuses why this shouldn't happen. And why there should be censorship. One of the new things that I heard was there shouldn't be platforming for controversial people. But not giving them a platform or deplatforming them is censorship.
The old science treatment.
Yeah, well, it's basically it's really it seems like a large lynch mob. It's like there's not really like a popular jury out there, because these cancel culture people, they come against anyone who even speaks out against it. And it's like right now everybody's afraid, but the thing of it is, I do hope that kind of thing ends. I'm hoping that cancel culture is on its way out, but I think there are portions of cancel culture that are going to go kicking, screaming, and punching its way out, and it's not going to go out easily. And there are a lot of people who support cancel culture that have metastasized themselves into all forms of businesses, both private and public.
Now, should we read any of this article? Race, Class, and Marxism?
If you want to, yeah.
This is from 2011, and it was on socialistworker.org. Should we start from the top here? All right. For revolutionary Marxists, there is an inextricable link between racism and capitalism. Capitalism is dependent on racism as both a source of profiteering, but more importantly, it means to divide and rule. Racism is necessary to drive a wedge between workers who otherwise have everything in common and every reason to ally and organize together, but who are perpetually driven apart to the benefit of the ruling class. What do you feel about this opening paragraph?
And it points to my thing is that this anti-racism stuff is rooted in Marx. I mean, a lot of this anti-racism stuff is rooted in Marxism.
Tells you right there. Thus, any serious discussion about black liberation has to take up not only a critique of capitalism, but also credible strategy for ending it. For Marxists, that strategy hinges on the revolutionary potential of the unified, multiracial, and multi-ethnic working class upheaval against capitalism. Marxists believe that the potential for that kind of unity is dependent on battles and struggles against racism today. Without a commitment by revolutionary organizations in the here and now to fight against racism, working class unity will never be achieved, and the revolutionary potential of the working class will never be realized. Yet despite all of the evidence of this commitment to fighting racism over many decades, Marxism has been maligned as, at best, blind to combating racism and, at worst, incapable of it. For example, in an article published last summer, popular commenter and self-described anti-racist Tim Weiss summarized the critique of left activists that he later defines as Marxists. He writes, this is Tim Weiss, left activists often marginalize people of color by operating from a framework of extreme class reductionism, which holds that the real issue is class, not race, that the only color that matters is green, and that issues like racism are mere identity politics, which should take a backseat to prompting class-based universalism and programs to help working people. This reductionism, by ignoring the way that even middle-class and affluent people of color face racism and color-based discrimination, and by presuming that low-income folks of color and low-income whites are equally oppressed despite a wealth of evidence to the contrary, reinforces white denial, privileges white perspectivism, and dismisses the lived reality of people of color.
And that's where, and this is what because I've heard these arguments before. And this is arguments between the two woke, the economic woke leftist and the social justice woke leftist. And and what I tried to tell him was that, and he's not going to listen to it, but it's a racial moral hierarchy, and the left has bought this stuff hook, line, and sinker. Okay, I mean, I don't know if you're gathering that from that, but yeah, I mean, sure. It's basically a moral hierarchy where whites are on the lowest rung of the racial moral hierarchy.
What's going on, Aaron? JP selling whites on sodomy and guilt. Shocker. All right.
Now, what is that picture? I'm looking at that picture of Aaron. What is that picture of anyway of Aaron?
That's not Aaron, is it? Aaron?
Well, it says Aaron.
Oh. I wonder if it's British Aaron. I don't know.
Who knows?
Don't know. Don't care. No.
Don't care, yeah.
That is a picture of two people. I don't know who they are, though. It's hard for me to tell. But if you click on it, it'll open it up.
Yeah, I've clicked on it. I still can't tell. I thought it was animation for a while from far away. It looked like a little piece from American Pop. Maybe my eyes are bad. But
that must be Aaron then. Oh, that's kind of cool that he's back. That is. He's playing metal, too, on his show, so it's got to be him. Yes. Got some Danzig on that show. Nice. All right. All right. I see where you're at.
But as I've said before, what I gathered from that article was... Please.
Sorry, I needed a little Danzig.
Well, I want just a little bit. But...
Go on.
like I said, and the Democratic Party, which has become the left party, they bought into this identity politics and this woke kind of outrage.
Now, Nimbuster sent us an article titled, "Why Liberal White Women Pay a Lot of Money to Learn Over Dinner How They Are Racist."
Yeah.
I've heard of this. Wow, $2,500. That's expensive.
We need to, I wonder if if there's somebody out there that will pay people money to find out. Yeah. A growing number of women are paying to confront their privilege and racism at dinners. $2,500.
I think if we threw a dinner party like that, I'd serve the $100 burgers you could buy in Vegas.
Absolutely. I wonder if there's any place for people to go who've been besmirched by the race industry, people who've lost jobs and been accused of things that they didn't do or that have been over dramatized. And who is this Poppy Noor? Who is this person?
Who?
Noor. I wonder who she is.
Oh.
She seems like a true lefty.
Oh, the author of this article, Poppy Noor. Hey, Poppy.
I think she's from England. Surprise, surprise. And let's take a look at this person. There's a real chirper for you. You know what? And I don't want to get into the whole. I did get into an argument with someone from England. I'm going to go into that a little bit later. As this was a black person from England who actually ended up, I think, pretty much agreeing with me on. I think we even though he was a little bit of a militant, he kind of saw my point of view. And this person's got to be disappointed because Brexit has won. And this kind of, it's this outrage is losing. It's not popular, but it's powerful. If taken to a vote, most people would not vote for this kind of thing. Luckily, now they wouldn't. I don't know if the demographics change, if they would, but as of now, they would not support this kind of thing. And I'm wondering, Joe, how much longer or how much more powerful this kind of cancel culture, woke outrage thing is going to be around, because it's not transparent, and I don't think it has a lot of merit to it. But and by the way,
so it should be easy to poke holes at them then, and so far it has been. It's been very easy, and we expect to do the same for more of just general corporate culture, which is filled with red tape. Also, very needy of a solution. People aren't falling for it. Fewer and fewer people are. Look at what the millennials are going through. They're all living at home, so they don't have to be subjected to, entering into some hostile corporate climate or be forced into some job. In many ways, it reeks of dependency. But on the other hand, I see the point.
Well, they also have to understand that you're not entitled to somebody else's labor.
Well, that's true, but in the better cases of the millennials, I've seen some pretty strong attitudes and educated people. They're doing the same thing, man. They're staying home.
Well, I mean, and we can get into why they're staying at home. I mean, things are far more expensive today than they were. I mean, just a generation ago. So, I mean, the price of things are very expensive.
Yeah, well, so is the minimum wage.
Yeah, but even but the minimum wage doesn't really cover the cost. It just doesn't. I don't think so. Look, I could be wrong on that, but the price...
It's fair. It's more relative than I think you think. But, yeah, I get the point. It seems... And home buying, no, you're right. When you're talking about large purchases, it's much easier to get...
Rent, I mean, the price of real estate and the price of rent tend to coincide with each other. And it's, inflation has gone up dramatically. So I don't begrudge people for living at home. I just, sometimes, you just can't afford it.
I don't either. But like you say, some of them are... they do have that. They carry that entitlement thing with them. That's probably a source of conflict, and it's probably going to get worse.
Well, also, I wonder if it seems like each generation, the work ethic tends to die down a little bit more. I mean, my grandfather's generation worked harder than my father's generation, and my father was a person who talked hard work, but I mean. His generation worked harder, and my generation, then I think the millennials, I don't know if they work as hard as the Generation Xers and the, of the boomers, who knows, as far as work ethic goes. But you said that what you've noticed is that these millennials are not as industrious and as hardworking as the Generation Xers.
Well, yeah, I mean, I've witnessed it firsthand in the workforce, and you could see the difference there. And, it's just a different ball game, and everybody's adapting right now. Everybody's learning to adapt. But it is also what you see though are okay. So you have the kind of this attitude at work that I've noticed with the millennials. That's getting a lot of time off, sparing their mental torture or their mental fatigue, the thought of having to work 5 continuous days in a work week. Oh my God. So you see a lot more absenteeism. And what I do have noticed is that it's rubbing off somewhat to some of the older workers, but not to the extent I expect. I expect it to be worse, and it's not. And actually, I think the older generations are taking a lot more pride in the work that they do, and they it's just it's an interesting dynamic I haven't noticed before. Maybe it's just because I'm getting older. I'm at a different phase in the whole working class world, I guess. Just different jobs with more responsibilities that affect other people's lives. And anyways, yeah, I've just noticed some micro trends, I guess. That's just my experience. What about you?
Yeah, someone just said that they hated our intro.
Oh no, that's too bad. You only hear the intro, by the way, on Spreaker when the show replays that's not played. It's only during the live listens. So. Oh, is it? Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm experimenting with that, but we'll probably make a really good one later. But at least we got a little something there. I thought it was kind of funny.
Oh, someone said they made it as a new one, and I told someone to unblock me.
Yes, you've been blocked.
I have been blocked, and it's really anti-freedom of speech. Some people just can't handle my speech, and it's hard for some people. Just not only. I mean, in this Spreaker world right now, there's someone who's a little bit on the sensitive side. Yeah, but I don't know, like comparative analysis, how much lazier Debbie, you blocked me. Unblock me, please. Thank you.
Some people have the nerve. Oh, yes, you do. Go there. Go there.
I just said your name, Debbie.
Go there.
Okay.
Yeah.
But let me get back to let me get back.
Aaron had some good comments there.
And by the way, we're still on a steak. It's unbelievable.
Where's our steak? Maybe she could use some of those winnings.
Yeah. Did she get? Did she supposedly win a lottery or something like that? Is that the?
She won a bet against another female on Discord, and apparently was paid immediately.
Mm-hmm.
You haven't heard about that? It was the Super Bowl. it was a $100 bet on the Super Bowl, and Debbie won, and she was paid.
Oh, and someone said Liz paid her too. Okay, that's fine. But let me just say that, as I've said before, I have not done an analysis on who is more lazy. Or how much, if they are much lazier, how much more lazier they are. And it also is with the individual, too, because there are some hardworking millennials out there and some lazy Generation Xers, some lazy boomers. You know, by the way, I'm not a boomer, but I made a comment about Nick Fuentes, and his groypers came after me, and they said, "Okay, boomer," to me. And, which, that's fine.
And what about the boomers? Did somebody called you?
Someone called me a boomer. One of Nick Fuentes' groypers called me a boomer.
Well, you're definitely a Generation X, though.
Yeah, I'm about 4 years younger. I think Debbie's a boomer.
Debbie's a boomer.
Okay, boomer.
Dennis claims to be a Gen Xer, but
we're both. Me and Dennis both. We're both Gen Xers. But Debbie, you're more like a booger. Why am I laughing? That joke's not even funny. God. So, Joe, I think, well, and I want to say that I've worked at jobs where when there's a lot of red tape, it's to get things done, and there's so much layers of bureaucracy.
Okay.
By the way, you know what Debbie said she was gonna when she came out to have dinner with us, she was gonna have her license and she was gonna show it to us.
I do want to see. Let me ask you, do I look old? No. Why are you answering your own question, Debbie?
Don't answer your question.
Yeah.
You should. You know what, Debbie? You should have. You were. I think. And I think we need to fly out to Texas to finally meet this woman. She won't come out there. If we go out to Texas, I don't think she'll visit us. And by the way, you haven't done a show in a long time. God, we've been on these networks for years.
Yeah, that's right. That's a good comment by Aaron. Debbie is young enough to be beautiful and old enough to be a mommy. To be my mommy. Hence the attraction. Oh, my goodness. Nothing right about that comment at all.
Well, get your mic fixed, man. Jesus. It's been like months. It feels like months since you've had a show. Something we need to rag on. But,
well, the most fun she's had doing podcasting was last night when we talked with the One Angry Jew.
Was Debbie on that show?
She was on we did a second part, but I didn't post it yet. I wanted to go through it.
You haven't posted any of them.
Oh, sorry about that. No, one of them's posted.
Not on YouTube, by the way.
Oh, well.
She just ordered a new mic. So, yeah. I wonder if she, I'll call someone a troll. But let's get back. I want to get back to this person who threatened me by the name of Halstorm I'm laughing when I say his name.
Carbuncle.
Halstorm Carbuncle, or whatever his name.
Yes.
Carbon Buckle. What is a carbon buckle?
I think it's Carbuncle. I didn't read it too well.
Carbuncle.
Yeah, I think it's
and that
Carbuncle.
sounds. Let me just say this. It sounds like a One Angry Jew name. It sounds like something Howard would come up with.
Hellstorm Carbuncle. Yeah, it kind of does sound like a Howard thing.
And it's a picture of the space shuttle. So it might be. It might be Howard trolling me.
That was the passive aggressive stab at me. So yeah, you have a point there.
And he's angry because I blocked him, and I will never unblock you, Howard. The way you behaved was atrocious to me.
So all right. So do you have anything else on?
No, I think that'll do it. I don't really have anything else to say except when you please go on our YouTube channel, like, subscribe, and comment. Please don't comment with threats against me. I don't like them. But there has been someone who actually threatened me that didn't like what I said, and it's very authoritarian to do such a thing. Shameful. Joe, is there anything for you to add?
No, I think that's about it. I think we should explore these topics even deeper and keep us posted on your YouTube. Red tape conversations on YouTube that you have are great, and I think that they should be shared. But this will be this platform's only going to grow. We're going to start doing our YouTube streams. We're going to take callers. We're going to have a lot of, and we're going to do some interviews. So that's all in the near future. So thank you for listening to Transparency and Merit. Go to our, if you're on YouTube, like and subscribe.
And also leave a comment.
And leave a
comment. If you dare.
If you dare, Carbuncle.
Carbuncle.
Hey, Carbuncle. All right.
All right. Well, thank you for listening.